Hey there, Sovereigns. Monica Grace from cardreadingqueen.com here. Today's content is all about gender fluidity and how that plays out for twin souls. So this is when we talk about the divine masculine and the divine feminine, how do we reconcile that with understanding gender fluidity and how it's not necessarily a dichotomy. So some people may be experiencing that in their personal lives and wondering, well, how does that relate to this twin soul journey with the masculine and the feminine? Before I get into that, I want to let you know how you can get and stay connected, as this is how you can get free content and updates from cardreadingqueen.com and from me, Monica Grace. So go to facebook.com/cardreadingqueen, cardreadingqueen.com/YouTube for my YouTube channel, instagram.com/cardreadingqueen, twitter.com/Monica Grace CRQ, pinterest.com/cardreadingqueen, dailytwinsoul.tumblr.com, and then linkedin.com/company/cardreadingqueen. So please choose one of these if you would like to, and definitely get and stay connected to us there. Additionally, if you hear anything that you'd like to go deeper into, you can find all of the freebies that I mentioned in this content at cardreadingqueen.com/freebies. So there is a list of all the freebies. All you have to do is sign up. It's, of course, completely free. So definitely check that out. So let's talk about the dichotomy of the masculine and feminine. And the gist here is, what about the trend? It's obviously two different categorizations. So, and a lot of times in the twin soul community, they say, and I have also posted this on my channel, that you are either the masculine or the feminine in the relationship or in the union. So, how does this play out for the transgender community? This is a question that I've had recently, as a number of my friends have been transitioning and consider themselves transgender. So I just wanted to basically address it in my content. So this is really a question of gender fluidity. So it's the idea that you either feel like you are a different gender than you were born with, or perhaps you just don't even respond. You don't identify with necessarily either gender, and so you consider yourself gender fluid or well, actually, I don't know if I'm using that word correctly, so I don't want to say it. But understanding gender in a very different way, in a very non-traditional way, and not looking at it as a binary categorization. So additionally, so that is how we relate to gender. And then additionally, there are a lot of questions around how that plays out in a romantic relationship in terms of sexuality and attraction. So, are there twin souls who have never had a sexual or romantic relationship and never intend to? So can you be essentially just like best friends with your twin soul? So that's another question that people have posed to me, and I wanted to address my thoughts on that. And in my content, typically I would say, if you have a close or intimate relationship with someone that doesn't include, the physical aspect or the romance, then I would typically call that a soul family member. And that's my understanding of it. But that's not to discount that you could be twin souls. I honestly, I don't know. So let me explain more of that. So this is the way I consider that. And I don't know, I hope these are, not offensive terms, but the way I would consider that would be like either a sexuality and or an attraction fluidity. So being like being attracted to different things, basically. All right, so hopefully I'm using terms that are not offensive, because that is not my intention. So let me go deeper into this and kind of explain. So here's my stance on this in my content. So basically, I respect another's understanding of this journey. I also respect their journey and whatever they want to share. I welcome their understanding in discussions on my channel, my social media, my website. I'm totally open to learning more about this journey. I don't consider myself an expert on the journey at all. I can only go as deep in teaching about this journey. I can only go as deep as I have gone myself. So I certainly don't consider myself an expert. I try to help people who are, maybe more toward the beginning of their journey, or just who have not gone as deep into the journey as I have. I welcome any deeper understanding if you have that. So I try to teach from my current understanding of that, and that is constantly evolving. So I'm constantly learning new things about the journey. I'm constantly updating my content to respect those new understandings. So if you're watching a video on my YouTube channel or listening to an old podcast, I may have shifted my stance on that already, and especially as more time has passed, there may have been a shift for me. And so then I try to update my content as I go. And I recognize my own inability to really know everything about this journey, as is the same for everyone. I don't think anyone has all the answers, knows everything about this journey. I think we can all only teach from a place of how deep we ourselves have gone. And so the other thing is I teach what has been useful to me, and then that's really coming from a place of my own understanding of it. So something I teach, for example, is I teach about how you can do a signs and synchronicities test. So I call it the 3x3x3 signs and synchronicities test. So I teach how you can use that to confirm who your twin soul is. So that's an example of something that has been useful to me. Now, if you are familiar with my work, you know that even though you can use that tool to confirm your twin soul, you're able to use that to confirm them at that level, basically. So as you go deeper and deeper into your union, you kind of continue to question who your twin soul is. It's never a question that you get fully answered. So you can even get into union with the person that you believe is your twin soul, and you can still be questioning, are we really twin souls? That's a very common thing that happens with people who are in union. So I teach those ideas if they've been useful to me, and that can even be if they are no longer useful to me now. So I wouldn't, at where I'm at in my stage, or at the stage I'm at in my journey, I wouldn't use that signs and synchronicities test to confirm my twin soul at this point. Because essentially I'm just further along in the journey, and I've had to transcend that test. But the reason I teach it, and the reason I think it's valuable, is because it was useful to me at one point, and it helped me get to where I am now. So that's another way that I create content around the twin soul journey. So if something that I'm saying doesn't resonate, feel free to click away, post your own understanding online, start your own channel, your own social media, your own website. I never wish to impose my views on anybody, and I'm just trying to I seek to connect with those my work resonates with. So that's kind of where I stand on all this. And the reason that I'm sharing all of that is because I wanted to talk about my take on the divine masculine and divine feminine. and the dichotomy that we in the twin soul world make pretty apparent. So, and this is coming from my own understanding. So basically we hold both energies within. So I believe, and I have experienced, that we hold both the masculine and the feminine energies within. And those energies, they not only go into different balances with each other, but they also shift from distorted to divine. And they shift at the same time, because distorted masculine and distorted feminine, it's the same thing, it's just a pattern. And that can shift to divine masculine and divine feminine, which is also a pattern. So I believe that those are both within us, and we hold both of those energies. As we hold both of those energies, and as we bring them into balance, that brings the outer union into balance as well, because that so I consider myself a divine feminine, but that divine masculine that I feel within me is it manifests on the outside through my twin soul. So that is what I believe. And I could go a lot deeper into that, but that's the gist of how I understand the masculine and feminine in this relationship. But what I want to say about that is, and this is something that I also believe, is that there is no separation between these energies. So in a union, at the highest levels, these energies are completely merged to the point where you would not be able to tell the difference between these two energies. So, if I were in a, perfect union, which I don't consider myself to be in right now, but if I were, fully ascended and fully merged with my twin soul, then I would assume that I would not be able to identify as a feminine anymore, a divine feminine anymore, because those energies would be so merged. So I wouldn't even be able to distinguish between masculine traits and feminine traits at that point. That's kind of, and again, this is kind of my assumption, but I think logically it makes sense. So my thinking around this is, what actually makes an energy specifically masculine or feminine? It's really nothing. So if you say, for example, I often say that manifestation or magnetization, that is a feminine trait. And responsibility and setting boundaries, those are masculine traits. But at the higher levels, you just wouldn't even be able to distinguish, because magnetization and responsibility, those are effectively the same energy. It's just two different approaches. One is more outer focus and one is more inner focus. And so the highest levels, it would just be how you attract things. It would just, there wouldn't be that distinction between those two energies. So what really makes that energy a masculine or feminine energy? It's nothing, in my opinion. So right now, we have a separation there. We want to understand the masculine and feminine separately, because as a planet, this is still where we're at. We still see these gender differences, basically, and we still are so deeply ingrained in these patterns. But I do think we are transcending them, and I think people who understand this, basically who understand gender fluidity, or who are living their lives with gender fluidity, or just understanding this at a deeper level, the way I would see that is that you have basically already transcended the separation that the rest of us are experiencing with this dichotomy. So basically, you're either closer to your union, or you've achieved your union maybe, but you've made much more progress on this dichotomy than some of the rest of us have, and that includes myself, because I still need to have that separation to really understand the two energies and understand where I'm, not using the right energy, or understand where my distorted energy is. I need to do that. But of course, to have any dichotomy in this world is simply separation. It just is. So, I think if you understand gender on a different level, that's pretty cool. That's really exciting. And definitely, I hope that you share your voice on that. So I hope this is helpful to you. Basically, I agree with people who say that the masculine and feminine dichotomy is kind of BS at the end of the day. I fully agree with that. And what I would say is that that's just where we're at right now. Or at least that's where I'm at in my journey. And I think there's a collectiveness around that. And that's okay. So, even my work with the core wound wheel, for example, I talk about how every wound is really just separation. Like, there's no difference in the wounding. But as I fracture that out into spokes on that wheel, I'm able to really understand those different threads of separation better. So the way I have the core wound wheel is that separation is at the center, and then there are 6 core wounds: control, abandonment, shame, rejection, betrayal, and injustice. And so these are just basically 6 different flavors of separation. And then from there, I fracture it out even more. And this is so that we can really go deeper with it and find all those different threads and come to understand each of those threads as another way we've separated ourselves from each other and from our higher power, our creator, and also from our twin soul. So I hope that makes sense as to why we have this dichotomy right now. And I truly believe it's just a fracturing. It's a fracturing to help us better understand and reclaim those different pieces. So anyway, that's my thoughts on that. Next steps, definitely look at the masculine and feminine dichotomy. Does seeing those 2 things separately, is that serving you right now, or is it not? And I think if it's not serving you at this stage in your journey, you can actually discard it. If it is serving you at this stage in this journey, and you're realizing that you need to really explore these 2 things in like a very separate way, then that's okay too. It's totally fine. And I do not believe that you should bypass that step if that's where you're at, because that's not going to get you what you want. You have to really understand the fracturing before you can understand the togetherness. And so if that's where you're at on your journey, that's great. There's nothing, there's no blame. There's nothing wrong with that. There's no judgment around it. I think it's beautiful. I'm happy to be there myself. I love to heal my wounding in my own time. Like, I love healing for the sake of healing, and it feels good to be there, and it's totally fine. Definitely, if you're interested in the dichotomy, you can check out the Inner Union Framework. It's at cardreadingqueen.com/freebies. And then finally, you can leave a comment on this posting. You can share your upset, your story, or your results. Also, any insights you have. We'd love to connect with you on this. Additionally, if this is interesting to you, I talk about masculine and feminine more in my book, Your Twin Soul Journey. And this is a guide to experience eternal, unconditional, harmonious, embodied love and union with your divine partner. So this covers so much of the journey, lots of different angles, different perspectives, different concepts that are valuable on this journey. So definitely check it out. You can go to cardreadingqueen.com/twin soul journey. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a beautiful and blessed day.